Prof.Samir Isha of Xavier's College, 30 Mother Teresa Sarani. Uh, you know, living through this pandemic is really historical, and this pandemic itself is historical. But we historians and we teachers of history, we can utilize this time in studying and developing ourselves at the same time dissemination of our whatever kind of knowledge about culture, about history that we have gathered. Just like I can show you one thing, I have in my hand a small little plaque. It's from it's a temple brick from the place where I used to teach previously. Um, that is Ombika Kalna in Burdwan. It shows Portuguese or English soldiers on horseback. Now, what I'm trying to emphasize is that our culture and heritage is built up through a process of clash and civilizations, and we have various layers of people coming into our culture, right from the days of the so-called Indo-European people, though it is highly contested, and then we have the Macedonian invasion and the Greeks coming in, and you have the Kushanas, the Shungas, the Shungas came later, the Kushanas and the Yavanas and Indo-Scythians, Parthians, and all these people. So each one had contributed to the development of our culture. And archaeology is a science which helps us to verify all uh, that we are really speaking through books or learning through books, like what Spooner did while discovering the walls of the palisade, wooden palisade of Pataliputra. Now, in modern times, we don't have something called modern archaeology, we have something called heritage. And the place where I teach is full of heritage, like the Park Street Cemetery, okay? The North and the South Park Street Cemetery, both. And in Park Street itself, opposite to St. Xavier's College, you have a tumble down villa, which happened to be the Mushidabad property. It was actually the Mushidabad Palace, which was in which Mir Zafar was living, and the last Nawab, Sir Wasif Ali Mirza, who was also renowned alumni of this college, was responsible for not giving up Mushidabad to Pakistan and exchanging it with Khulna. And it is said that the Pakistani flag flew on the Hazarduari Palace for about a week, and then the Indian flag was hoisted because of his efforts. But see now what has happened to his house. It is lying in shambles. It's locked down in the courts with 150 years of legal battles over the possession of that house. Even the intact could not possess and restore it. However, in St. Xavier's College, we do have a heritage complex which is still in shape, and which is, in fact, the best preserved piece of heritage in central Calcutta. And the thing is that everywhere we have it, this kind of heritage, it can be, everything inbuilt heritage cannot be preserved in the museums. So we should try and build up site museums, okay? So that the built heritage of Calcutta, like if you walk down Southern Street, Keith Street, you don't have the House of Kidd. When I used to live in 16 Jawaharlal Nehru Road, in the Government Art College Principal's Quarters, since my father was the principal of Government Art College, I used to look at the demolition of Kidd's house, and it still had that wonderful Palladian copied European style of Victorian gateway. The railings, iron railings, are still there, but there is a multi-storied in the place where Kidd used to live. So we have a lot of Anglo-Indian heritage, a lot of this colonial heritage, the way the European culture has been accepted by the Rajas and the Zamindars and the Maharajas and the Nawabs. We still don't know the fact that the Belvedere Palace, which was the National Library, was in fact the hunting lodge of Siraj-ud-Dawla, the Nawab of Bengal. the last independent Nawab of Bengal. We don't even know that, many of us don't know, or we don't care, that the house of the Darbhanga Maharaja in Calcutta, the Calcutta Palace of Darbhanga Maharaja, known as Calcutta Darbhanga House, was pulled down. In fact, in front of me when I was, I had just been very young in occupation, professional occupation. I saw it being torn down. The gates are still there, and no one objected. There was no heritage commission, nothing. Still now, we under the present government in Bengal, we have something called heritage management, and colonial structures, zamindari palaces are being restored. But we need to do a lot, like this piece of brick, terracotta architecture, a part of embellishment of the terracotta architecture is showing European horsemen. Okay, so what would you call it? How would you define it? How would you define our culture? So culture is like a soup, everyone has contributed in it, and there should not be any identity crisis or communalism about it. And we are not only preserving heritage through museums, but we are also doing it by creating awareness about structures which are lying here and there, which are being, slowly being pulled down. But such a thing doesn't happen in Europe, and in many parts of our own country, like in Rajasthan, all the royal houses have been converted into hotels. So we can also do the same. The house on which Tagore filmed his Jalsha Ghor, that is Nimtita Rajbari, is today totally ruined. We have the Andul Rajbari, the huge, largest, this Zamindari palace, in a very, very bad shape. So something needs to be done. Even in Calcutta, it's no longer the city of palaces, it's slowly becoming a city of cages and boxes. Like you can see, I'm sitting in a box, which is my bedroom, and with books tucked in and everything tucked in. So just because we have to live like this, we cannot forget our heritage. So try and be more concerned about your heritage, about your name, which carries your title, which is also a part of history, about the pen that your grandfather used, the bed on which you were born. Don't just sell it off. Try to keep it. At least try to preserve a memory of it, a photograph or something. Thank you.